right, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for joining us today as we kick off the first webinar in our Synchro Studio Simplified series. My name is Brooke McGee, and I'm a part of the marketing team here at Cubic. I will be moderating today's webinar. Before we jump in and introduce all of our speakers and panelists today, I'd like to introduce you to Jeff Price. Jeff is the Vice President and General Manager for Cubic ITS, and he has a few words of welcome he would like to share with you.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you all for joining today. Really excited to see so many participants in this webinar. And for those of you who don't know me, I know many of our Synchro Studio customers are not necessarily the same as many of our ITS product customers. But I came out of the GridSmart business that Cubic acquired back in January of 2019. And recently was placed over Cubic's entire ITS business unit, comprising former Trafficware products and GridSmart products together under the Cubic ITS umbrella. I'm very happy to be here and very excited about our future as Cubic ITS. We have a great product portfolio of Trafficware products and GridSmart products. And one of the ways all those intersections get designed, Synchro Studio. And I want to be transparent. Over the last, let's say, couple of years, our support with Synchro Studio has not been where we would like it to be. But we've changed things. We've put in a new leadership team, and I'm particularly proud of the team that's on to talk about Synchro Studio. Over just the last 6 months, we've seen dramatic improvements and our customer satisfaction scores as people are finally getting their answers and their tickets resolved and their issues resolved. We're going to continue to invest in Synchro, and I'm excited about this new release that they're going to tell you about, and excited about the future. So again, thank you all for joining, and look forward to continue pleasing you as Synchro Studio customers. Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you so much for that, Jeff. I know we are all so thrilled about this release and the simplified licensing that allows remote access for Synchro. To talk more about this release, along with some must-knows for Synchro, we have Sharman Chaudhuri, Product Specialist at Trafficware. Also joining us is Lindsay Roldan, Business Development Manager, and Aaron Schaefer, Business Development Administrator. So if you have questions for Sharman during the webinar, just drop those in the Q&A for us. Lindsay and Aaron will be helping answer questions you have throughout the webinar. I think they already started doing that, so great job, team. At the conclusion of the presentation, we will address any of your remaining questions. Alrighty, so I know all of you didn't come here just to listen to me talk, so let's turn it over to Sharman to get to Synchro Studio. Sharman?
Thank you, Brooke. Good evening and morning to everyone, depending on the location from where you are attending to this webinar. Welcome you all to the webinar on Synchro Studio Simplified. My name is Sharmin Chaudhuri, and I am the product specialist for Synchro Studio Suite software, and I'll be your presenter for today's webinar. By this time, as you all know, that today's webinar is mainly focused on Synchro Studio and its important features. We are going to discover some important feature in today's webinar. However, as I always do, considering many of you are already maybe Synchro user, you used it, but there might be some who never use Synchro, who are listening to us for the first time, who are thinking about using Synchro. So I would like to go with a small overview of what Synchro Studio is, why you should use Synchro Studio, and then I'll jump in and talk about the main topic for today, okay? So let's get started. So the first slide here is, what is Synchro Studio? Synchro Studio is a robust, easy to use traffic signal analysis software. Now, here I mentioned that it's a traffic signal analysis software. This is what Synchro was originally made for. However, in today's date, we do support unsignalized intersection as well as roundabouts. Synchro Studio allows you to design, analyze, optimize, model, simulate, and animate both signalized and unsignalized intersection. Synchro Studio also allows you to compute trip distribution and trip assignment for TIA analysis, which is essentially the traffic impact analysis. Now, when we talk about Synchro, this is just a product of a whole suite of products, which we called Synchro Studio. Synchro Studio includes Synchro, yes, because this is our main flagship product. And Synchro Studio allows you to design, model, and optimize traffic signal infrastructure. We also have SimTraffic, which is a micro simulation tool, which allows you to simulate the real world vehicular and pedestrian traffic scenarios. When you purchase Synchro, you always get SimTraffic and vice versa. So those two you can purchase as a package. Besides these two products of Synchro Studio, we also have another add-on module, which we called 3D Viewer. 3D Viewer is a 3D viewing tool. What it does, it takes the two-dimensional animation model from SimTraffic and create a three-dimensional model, which is a great source of presentation. Besides these three products, we also have two supplemental modules, Warrants and TripGen. Both of these modules are standalone. That means you could purchase them completely separately, or you could purchase them as an add-on of Synchro Studio product. Now, Warrants and TripGen, both names are quite self-explanatory. Warrants allows you to evaluate a network of intersections according to the MUTCD guidelines for signalization, as well as always stop control intersection. On the other hand, TripGen allows you to calculate the expected number of trips based on data from the ITE trip generation manual. The latest TripGen aligned with the latest IT trip generation manual, which is version 10. Why should we use Synchro Studio? Synchro Studio have been in the industry more than 20 years. We do have customers all over the world. Synchro Studio combines the deterministic modeling tool, which is Synchro, with the microscopic simulation tool, which is SimTraffic. So you are getting both while you are using Synchro Studio. Synchro Studio is a very easy to use software and highly adaptable to many different scenarios. Synchro Studio also supports multiple similar scenarios in single Synchro file, considering you have a same network, but you have different times. Day of time, considering you have AM peak, PM peak, maybe you have existing scenario, you have future scenario, you can have all together in a single Synchro file. Synchro Studio also supports multiple analysis method, starting from HCM 6th edition, HCM 2010, HCM 2000, percentile delay method, which is Synchro's own proprietary method. We also have ICU, which is the intersection capacity utilization, and SimTraffic analysis. Synchro has a very seamless integration between our products. Synchro has a seamless integration with SimTraffic, with our central management system, as well as with Warrants. Also, SimTraffic does have a seamless integration with 3D Viewer. That means if you are including all the data in Synchro or SimTraffic and you integrate with the other products, it will, within one click, it will take you to SimTraffic or it will take you to Warrants without doing any extra work, okay? Okay, so this is all about Synchro Studio and why you should use the Synchro Studio. Now let's get started with the main topic for today. So the first one here we are going to talk about is the ribbon bar and quick access toolbar. Synchro has a very colorful ribbon bar and quick access toolbar, which are very easy to use. You have complete control over them. They are organized by task. They actually are designed in a way so that they improve your efficiency. Okay. Now those two toolbars, one we called the quick access toolbar, another we call the ribbon bar. Obviously, when you open Synchro for the first time, the toolbars are arranged in a way so that you have some default setup from Synchro. Okay. Now you can customize it based on your requirement. Whatever your requirement is, you can completely customize it. Okay. Now, what you what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Synchro, and then I will show you how the quick access toolbar and ribbon bar looks like. Whoever never seen Synchro, also I will show you how you can customize it. Okay, so let me open Synchro for you and discuss about it. Okay, so this is how the Synchro 11 looks like, right? When you open Synchro, you have a Bing background, and I have a model. I just open up a sample file here. So in the first row here, what you see, we called it quick access toolbar. Okay, that means like you can access the options pretty easily from this quick access toolbar. Now what you see here, these are the defaulted options from Synchro, starting from the file, save, save as, report, undo, redo. Now, if you want to go with that, you are most welcome. If you want to customize it, maybe you want to have some other options here so that you can access them quickly, so that you need to click this button. So when you click this button, more other options are actually appeared here. So the options with the tick marks are the option you see here. Now, if you want to include more options here, for example, maybe nowadays I'm using sim traffic a lot. Okay, I'm doing a lot of simulation using Synchro, and I'm using sim traffic a lot. I want to bring sim traffic with my quick access toolbar so that I can just click from here. So what I need to do is I need to click it. When I click it, you see sim traffic just appeared here. Okay. Now, if I just uncheck it, it will disappear from here. So this is true with any other options here. Now, next question might be, hey, I know like you have options here, but maybe I want to bring something different in here, because I know like Synchro have many options, but I want to bring something in here. Now, if you want to bring some extra stuff here, what you need to do is you need to come here. There is an option called Customize Quick Access Toolbar. You need to hit that. When you hit that, there is two different columns. On the left-hand side, you see all the available options in Synchro. On the right side, you see whatever you see when you click that dropdown. Okay. Now, if you want to bring in some other option, you need to transfer the option from the left side to right side. So I'll show you how you can do that. Let's see, what should I drag in? I can drag in anything for now though. Okay, so just think about these days, maybe I'm working with the safe part. I'm splitting my Synchro file to many of my colleagues, and I'm actually working with that functionality a lot. And I want to bring it to my quick access toolbar. I don't want to go to transfer and find that option. So I click that, you see that arrow actually popped up. So when I click that, it appears here. If I press OK, you see the save part option just appear here. So if you want to bring in more options, you can. You just need to make sure that you click it from here if those are available. If there is not available option, you just need to hit the Customize Quick Access Toolbar. Okay. Now, if you want to bring back Synchro's default, like you change everything and now is like, okay, I'm now more comfortable with what Synchro gives me. I want to reset everything. What you can do is you can just hit reset, and then you see reset all customization. Hit this, press OK. You see that goes away. So now whatever you see, those are Synchro's default. So you can modify it based on your requirement. You can also bring it back to default. Okay, so this is about Quick Access Toolbar. Now, whatever bar you see here, these are the ribbon bars. Now, when you see the ribbon bars in Synchro, it might actually remind you something with the Office Suite software, right? So we purposely create this because we wanted to make you feel comfortable, because most of you are really familiar with the Office Suite software. So when you open Synchro, there is not a big surprise. You see, okay, these are familiar and I can actually run through it. I can find the available option. That's why we try to make it so familiar to you. Now, ribbon bars are actually organized into different tabs, starting from File, then you have Home tab, Options, Transfer, Optimize, Reports, Help, okay? So those are actually based on similar kind of work. So when we divide them into tabs, those are based on the different kind of works. Now, when you come to each tab, you see there are different groups. Like I am in Home tab now, you see mapping, zoom, view option, lens volume, and so on. Now, when I am here, These groups are divided based on the logical task again. So like if I'm in mapping, that means anything related to mapping should be here. If I'm in signal timing, anything related to signal timing should be here so that you can use the options efficiently, okay? Now, as I mentioned, this is what Synchro gives you at the beginning, like this is the default setup, use it. Now, if you don't wish to use it, if you have your own requirement, you can also have that. Now, how you can have that? So for example, let's actually talk about just one tab at a time. So I will show you the process of customization, and you can actually apply the same customization to any of the tab here. Now let's talk about the home tab and home tab. Okay, so I have HCM 6th edition and I have 2010 edition here under the home tab. Now, maybe nowadays, I'm not using HCM 2010 that much. I'm actually using HCM 6th edition. And I don't want to have HCM 2010 here because I'm not using it. So let's just remove it from here. How can I do that? Again, I need to click that drop down just after the quick access toolbar. And then there is an option called customize the ribbon. When you click that, on the left-hand side, what you see as a default in Synchro, on the right-hand side, what you see here. Okay, so you can actually transfer the tab from here to there and there to here. Now, as I mentioned that I am under the home tab and I don't want to see HCM 2010 edition under my home tab. So I click that. Whenever I click that, you see that button actually popped up that I can transfer from right to left. So I hit that button. It actually removes my HCM 2010 edition. If I press OK, you see the 2010 edition goes away from here. Now, as I remove one options and I see I actually save some space here. So let's actually bring something in what I'm using nowadays a lot. Okay, so let's do that as well. I'll go again to the customize the ribbon. And then let me think. Okay, so I want to bring something under home tab. So I need to make sure that I click home tab. And then let's say I want to bring the UTDF transfer to my home tab because nowadays I'm using UTDF a lot and I want to access UTDF from my home tab. So I select that, I click that button. You see the UTDF just appear under the home tab. It's true to any other tab if you do that, and I press OK. You see the UTDF just appear under my home tab. So I can completely customize these ribbon bars however I want to. Now, if you do everything, if you feel like, okay, I want to bring back to Synchro's default, again, there is an option also similar to quick access toolbar, customize the ribbon, reset all customization, press OK. Now you have HCM 2010 and you don't have the UTDF anymore. Okay. So the message here is you can actually modify it however you want to based on your requirement. Okay. Okay. This was all about the ribbon bar and quick access toolbar. I'll take questions for sure if you have any. Now, the next topic is the customized defaults. We do have different kind of default setups in Synchro. Now, different default setups in Synchro means when you open Synchro for the first time, when you draw a network, you are drawing on top of Synchro's default, right? So like, for example, you are actually drawing a lane, okay? You are drawing a lane of an intersection. Now, when you do it for the first time, Synchro will give you a 12-foot lane because this is what Synchro gives you as a default. Now, obviously, you can change that, right? Now, report, like if you want to create your own report, like you want to have your own header and footer, depending on the options Synchro gives you, you can do that. So these are the all settings, what is available in Synchro as a term of defaults. So the first one is the network settings, then report settings. This is within Synchro. Map settings in Synchro and SymTraffic. You have the driver and vehicle parameters in SymTraffic. You have the interval parameters in SymTraffic. Okay. So in this window, you will see the default buttons. The default buttons either look like this within Synchro or look like this. Okay. So when you actually hit the default buttons, it loads the default for the given dialog, window, or view, depending on where you click it. The Synchro defaults are actually read from no intersection file, which we called defaults SYN in the trafficware directory. Now, if you want to modify the default from the trafficker directory, make sure that it's universal. That means you are actually using that default for all your network, for all your project you are working on. So that's a pretty sensitive one to change. Now, if you have different default criteria for each of your projects separately, I would highly recommend you to have your own default somewhere else. And you, whenever you work on those particular file, you just incorporate that default for that particular file. And I will show you how you can do that. Again, highly customizable. You can customize even whatever Synchro gives you. You can create your own default as well. Okay. So let's go back and open Synchro again. So as I mentioned that Synchro have various defaults. So I told you about the network settings. I told you about the map settings. So if I click the options, there is an option called network settings. So if I hit network settings, you see there is a default button. If I hit the map settings, there is a default button as well. Also, I mentioned about the report. You also have the defaults button in the report. Okay, so like you can actually modify your header, footer, graphics, whatever defaults give you, you can have your own. Okay, so now let's actually target one and I will show you how you can customize that. And then you can actually apply the same logic to any other default Synchro have. Now let's open the network settings. Now in the network settings, you have several tabs like lanes, volumes, timing, phases, simulation, emission. Now, if I want to change something, I can change it here and I can apply it to my model. For this purpose, like personally, I would recommend you to change anything with the default before you start doing your modeling. Okay, so if you do that, now after you change the default, whatever you actually draw on top of Synchro, it will take your default. But you already create your network. Now, if you want to change the default, you can, like I will do it right now, but my preference is to do it first as an initial setup and start building your network on top of that. Now, as I didn't do that because I wanted to show you, so I will change some defaults parameter here and I will see how you can apply it into Synchro. For example, lane width. Okay, so Synchro gives the lane width of 12 feet, meaning when you draw the network in Synchro with the default parameter, whatever you draw as a lane width, it will give you 12 feet. Okay. Now, for example, you are working in a network and you know, okay, I know that all my lane width in this particular network is 13 feet. I would like to change that. So when you change that and you press set all, and then obviously I need to press OK, it will actually apply to all your network. So when you see set all and you want to actually apply that, make sure you actually hit set all there. Okay. Now let's change another thing just to have more options. So maybe I would like to change the PHF from 92 to 90, and then I set all. I press OK. So now if I open up an intersection and I should see the lane width of 13 feet and I should see the PHF as a 90, like 0.90. So I hit that, I come to lane settings. You see I have everything as a 13. And if I go to volume settings and I see the PHF, I have 90. Now, when you apply it, it will apply to all your intersection. Okay. Now, if you need to separately change each intersection, you need to do it under this window. You cannot do it from the default because that's a global setup. Okay. Now just imagine whatever I change here, like I change the lane width, I change the volumes as a PHF. Now, based on that, I want to create my own default. And then I want to use the same default to any network I work on. How can I do that? So when I change the lane and volume, I come under the defaults option. I click it. It will give me these options. Yes, I will check because I want to bring it in. Now you have two different options. One is load default files, another is load from file. If I want to save my own default, I'm going to choose load from file. Oh no, before I do that, I need to make sure that I save the file. Okay. So I save the file, I save all the default I changes here. Now, for better understanding, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open another file, not the exact same file. I'm gonna open another file and I'm gonna incorporate that default what I just created, like with lane width of 13 and PHF of 0.90. So when I come to options, I hit network settings. I hit defaults. It will ask me load the file from. I go to browse, and I believe I changed the file here. I hit open, so it actually loads my file. I press OK. You see it changes my lane width, it changes my PHF. That means I successfully incorporate or import my default, whatever I just created. If I set all, if I set this all for this one, press OK. .90. So I just incorporate my own default to another file I'm working on. Okay. Now, if I change these and then I remember, okay, I want to bring back to Synchro's default because I think that suits better. Now, if I want to do that, I'm gonna go to the same window, defaults, load defaults file. If you hit that option, that will actually import the Synchro's default. If you have your own default, make sure you check that box. If you want to incorporate Synchro's default, make sure you check this box, press OK. Change, this one change, press OK. Now, if I go back to the lens settings, I should have 12. If I go back to the volume settings, I should have 9.2. Okay. So this is completely customizable. Either you can actually have your own default, save it in your local file, or if you have something universal, you can modify Synchro's default under the Trafficware directory as well. Okay. Okay, this was all about the default. I just showed you one window, but like if you can actually apply the same logic in the map settings, report settings, sim traffic settings, the same logic applicable to any default setup under Synchro. Okay, so the next thing here is the template tools, how you can use the template tools. Template tools actually allows you to quickly populate an approach or intersection based on your lane geometry, timing, and volume input. Okay, so this is very useful when you first draw an intersection on top of Synchro. Now you can start from scratch, like you just draw the node and you can fill in the information like the lane geometry, volume, and timing, obviously based on your requirement. Or you can use the help of templates, because as a templates will give you something to start with, so that you don't need to do everything from scratch. Okay, now in this portion, we will learn how you can utilize the template options from Synchro, as well as how we can create our own template. Okay, now to access the template, you need to access, click the home, then you need to come under the lane and volume groups, and there is a sub menu called templates, and then you have several templates. Again, I'm going to go open the Synchro and then we'll discuss that there. Okay. So imagine you have a completely new Synchro file. So I just hit file new and it gives me that. Now I want to draw one intersection. So let's start drawing one intersection. Maybe I target this one. Okay. So I draw this intersection. I just anchor it. So I draw this intersection. Now, when I first draw a node, I need to actually enter the lane geometry, volume, timing, right? So many things. So when I start from the scratch and I see the lane settings, I see these are empty, right? Nothing is there. Now I can go ahead and I can put this one. I can put this one. I can also this one and this one, right? Now I need to fill up this, and that. So I need to go from completely scratch. If I don't want to use that, like, okay, I don't want to go from scratch. Maybe I want some help from templates. So I come here and I click templates. So when I hit templates, so always remember it's under home, lanes and volumes, and then you have the template. So before you do that, make sure that you actually select the node. You come here. Now there are 6 different templates which are available in Synchro, starting from one lens. When you actually select a node and select one lens, it will give you all approach, one lane, shared left through right. If you choose 2 lane, it will give you all approach, one exclusive, one through right. 2 lanes, one shared left through, one shared right through. 3 lanes, exclusive left through right. 3 lanes, left through exclusive, through right shared. Then you have 4 lanes, left and right exclusive, and 2 through exclusive lane. Now, depending on what you want. Now, what my suggestion would be, choose the template which actually closely match with your intersection. Like choose the best one, choose the closest one, so that you need to do a very little modification on top of that. Okay. So for this one, I know like I started with something like that, like left through right. So I see, okay, this is the closest one I can use. So I click that. Okay. Now the template applied. It gives me some geometry. It gives me some volume. It also gives me some timing. Okay. Now what I can do is I can modify based on how I want to have it. Okay. But this will give you a point to start so that you don't need to do everything from very scratch. Now I realize, okay, my eastbound and westbound looks what I want, but my northbound and southbound not really matches what I want. Like Synchro didn't give me something different. Now what you can do, you can actually apply the template based on the approach as well. So when you select the approach, you come to template and I decide, okay, the second one actually matches with my southbound and northbound. Now for the northbound, I select the second one. For the southbound, I also select the second one. Now I know that I didn't exactly get what Synchro gives me, but I can modify them. I don't need to go ahead and check it, like change it like under the lens settings. I can just choose whatever template which matches with my that particular approach. So I just go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, for some reason, you actually create, this is your own template, right? Because you change it. This is not exactly what Synchro gives you. You change it per approaches. Now you want to save it. Like, okay, I create my own template and I want to save it. Like this looks nice to me and I'm going to use this template often. To do that, let's change something else as well. As I mentioned that Synchro will give you the lane geometry, the volume and timing. So for this one, I'm going to change also those values. So let's change the volume. Maybe I'll put 100 all over to show the difference. Okay. Not very realistic, but good for presentation, right? So that you can see the difference, okay? Okay, so I change the volume all over. And I would also like to change the timing. What do I change? Okay, let's change the turn type for the left turn. Let's change all the turn type from permitted to protected, because Synchro gave me permitted, but my one is protected. So I would like to have protected all over, okay? So when I have that, I change the lane geometry, I change this volume, I also change the timing, and I want to save it for myself so that I can use it later on, okay? So to save as a template, what you need to do is you need to come to File, Save As, and you need to go to the folder where your file is. I would like to go to the exact same folder where I save my file. You can choose whatever you want. I can name it. Maybe I will name it customized temp. Make sure to change the type. So by default, Synchro will give you type Synchro SYN. So I would like to go to the template and then save it. Okay. When I save it, I would like to show you the folder. It saves the template as a .tf file. Okay. Now, just imagine that I would like to actually draw another intersection here. And I just draw it. In this case, I would like to incorporate my own template, which should exactly match like that. Okay, for now. How can I do that? So I select that node where I want to merge in. And I come here under the lanes and volumes. There is the option called Merge Template. When I hit Merge Template, it will ask me to go to the folder where I have the template. So I go ahead and I select the template. I hit Open. It will ask me what options you want to merge in. Lanes, volumes, timings. As I change everything, so I want to incorporate everything. Press OK. Synchro will give me a little notification and see, I have the template what I just created. Like I'm showing you in the same file, just to show you it matches, but obviously you can have it in different files, and that's the purpose, so that you can use your own template. Okay. Now you have it like you can see volume, you can see the lane changes. Also, if you click the timing settings, you will see the left turn changes as well. Okay, so template is also completely customizable, and it will actually help you to have something to start with so that you don't need to start developing a model from scratch. So very useful tool. If you want to use it, go ahead and use it. Okay. Okay. That was all about template. Now the next topic for today is merge files and save part. So these are actually more about the file management purposes, I would say, right? Like especially when you are working in a team where these options will actually help you to better manage your team. Imagine that you are working on a huge network and like you have several colleagues working with you. Now, if you have only one Synchro file and you just need to work on the same file again, like you are working and then your colleague are working, that's very time consuming, right? That's not time efficient. So using the save part, what you can do is you can actually save the part of your network and then provide them all your colleagues so that each part of network, each of your colleague can work completely independently. When the work is done, you can combine them all together and use the merge file option and create the final output, right? So using save part, you are actually splitting your work. Using the merge option, you are bringing them back together. Okay, so this is the whole purpose of the file merge and the save part option. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some stuff in Synchro, and I'll show you how you can work with these options easily. So I just open up a file here. Okay, so this is just normal Synchro file, and then I have few intersections here. Now, assume that I have these two intersections and I have the whole corridor. Maybe I'm working with the whole corridor and I want one of my colleagues to work on these two intersections and then give me the output for those two intersections, give me whatever he got, and then I will import it back. I'll merge it back to my main file. Okay. So to do that, what I need to do is I need to first select the intersection I want to share or I want to split. So I select these two intersections. I come under options and then, I come under transfer and then I hit merge files. Okay, I need to save it. I don't know what did I change, but that's okay. Let me save it first. Maybe I'll save it first, the file. I think I changed it. Okay. Now, when I come back to save part, obviously I need to select. I select the intersection. I can select one intersection. I can select more intersection. Doesn't matter. Save part will take care of that. Now, when I hit save part, it will actually show me in which name I want to save that model. Synchro will automatically give you like P01. This is your first part of your intersection. If you do save part with one network, twice, thrice, Synchro will give you 02, 02, 03, 04, but you can have your own name. Okay, I'll go with Synchro, what Synchro gives me, but you can have your own name completely. So I hit save. So when I hit save and I'll try to open the fixed cycle coordination P01 file, I should only have these two intersections, right? That's the purpose of save part. So let's see if I have that. So this one is the file I wanted to open. See, I have just that two intersection. Okay. Now, let's assume that I want to change some data here. And like, let's assume I am the other colleague and I want to change stuff here and I want to give it to the other colleague and so that they can merge in back. So let's go ahead and change something here. So let's target this intersection first. Okay, maybe I'll change some lane geometry. So let's have a left turn on the westbound. Let's have some storage length. Let's say 200. Okay, let's have only 2 through. Let's have an exclusive right turn, maybe with right turn channelization. Maybe I can play with the curve radius a little bit to maybe that's what I want. Okay. So I changed the geometry completely for this westbound on the top intersection. Okay. Now also let's change some volume as well. Maybe I'll keep the same volume again, just to make the difference so that it's easy to capture. Okay, I'll keep it like that. And maybe for the next intersection, I would like to change some timing data. What should I change? Okay, maybe I'll bring everything to permitted. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, so it was protected, and I bring everything to permitted. And then maybe let's do some optimization as well, just for fun. Okay. Now this is what I changed as the other colleague, and I saved that file. Now I want my other colleague to bring my changes to the main file. Okay, so that's the job. Now let's go to the main file. This is the main file, right? You see it has like completely different volume. It has left and different. It has the timing settings for this one. Permitted, protected, protected. Now let's go ahead and bring the changes. To bring the changes, what I need to come to transfer. I need to hit the merge file. I need to select the file which I want to bring in. So this is the P01 because that's the file I just made my changes. I hit open. Now there are two different options. One is merge intersection by ID, another is merge intersection by location. Okay. So in this case, I am going to go ahead and choose the merge intersection by ID. Why is that? So when you are actually bringing in a small network to a larger network and you have the exact same node numbers, you just change the geometry, you just change the timing or the volume, but you have the same node number. That's a part of the smaller network. You are going to bring it to the bigger network. Go ahead and choose merge intersection by ID. But if you want to connect two different networks from two different locations and you want to bring them a big network, you choose merge intersection by location. I will show you that as well. But right now, as I mentioned, that I'm trying to bring in the smaller portion of the network to a bigger portion of network, which have the same node ID. I'm going to choose merge intersection by ID. Now there are like which data I want to merge because I actually change everything. So I want to merge all the data. Then it will show me, it will actually ask me which file. So I'm going to use this. You have the scenarios. So because Synchro 11 supports different scenarios, right? Several scenarios. So if you need to make sure that you choose the correct scenarios, because maybe in one scenario you have different timing than other scenarios. Also applies to the volume. So make sure that you choose the correct scenarios. But the other file I just created doesn't have scenarios. That's why it's just defaulted to scenario 1. So I'll go with that. But for you, if you have more scenarios, make sure you choose the correct one. Okay. When I press OK, yes, Synchro will give me the notification that the data got merged, and see that now I have volume different. Now I have the westbound approach different. Also, I should have all permitted, I think, in this. Yes. So where should I go? This one is timing settings. I have all permitted. Okay. So I do it like that. Now do another thing. As I mentioned that you can have combined two different networks from two different locations by using the merge by location. Okay. So let me see if I have something open file. Okay, maybe use this one. So let's assume that okay, I can do that. So I will connect these two networks. So this is my one network, and then this is my endpoint, right? And I would like to connect these two intersections with this network. Okay. So to do that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect this point to that point. Okay, so that I can have these two models combined. I have two intersections here. I have a huge model here, and I want to bring this to here. Okay, so that I have a combined model. Now to do that, you need to make sure that the X and Y coordinates for these two connecting point exactly matches. Okay, this is very important. If you just like go ahead and merge in as a location, it will open up in, who knows, in some other location, which doesn't match with your network at all. But to match with your network, you need to make sure the connecting node should have the same X and Y coordinates. So as I have the big network here, I don't recommend you changing the X and Y coordinates here. I would recommend you to change the X and Y coordinates here on the smaller file, okay? The file you are trying to merge in, okay? So now let's see what is the X and Y coordinates. So here I have the X and Y coordinates as a 1800 something, 18,000 something. For this one, I have completely different X and Y coordinates, right? So idea here to match these X and Y with these X and Y, right? That's how we can actually combine two different networks from two different locations. So let's go ahead and do that. So how we can actually convert the X and Y coordinates. So what you need to do is you need to come under the mapping settings, and there is an option called transform map. When you click that and you come under the node, it will give you a window like that. So the first one is the old coordinates. That means what you have here. The second one is the new coordinates option. You want to bring it in. So in this case, I would like to match it with this one. So I'll go ahead and type in. So it's going to be 18,426. Then I would have 10107. Let's see if I match it properly. 18426. 10107. Yes, let's go ahead and press OK. Make sure I save it. Okay. Now, when I come back to the main file, because now when I do the merge location, I should have these two intersections appeared here. So I go ahead, hit transfer, merge file. Yes, I need to choose. I hope this one is the file. Open. Now I'd like to choose merge by in location because this is what I want to. Then I have all. Okay, I want to merge back all. Press OK. Yes. You see, I just merge in two different files from two different locations, and they are just one network right now. Okay. Now, when you connect two intersection to network, you see there is a bend node created. I would recommend to just delete that because that's not necessary. We just use that node as a connection point. Okay, so when you do that, make sure just you just delete that bend node because that's not necessary. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to figure out my mouse, sorry. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience.
And Sharman, just as an FYI, we are getting close to our time. So
that is correct. Here we go. This is my last topic, and the next slide is for Q&A.
Perfect.
Yeah. So now we'll open the Q&A session, and I'll try to answer as much as possible. So now it's up to Brooke.
All right. Thank you, Sharman. And we have several questions open here. So we'll jump right in. What analysis method results so significantly different from each other? Oh, excuse me, I misread that. Why analysis method results so significantly different from each other? HCM 2000, 2010, and 6. And Sharman, this was like right at the beginning of your presentation, if that helps your reference when that was asked.
Okay. So in general, we don't expect so much difference in the results between those three methodology because Synchro actually incorporate the way HCM, how HCM gives us the methodology. So we just incorporate a way, but you might see some differences because of how each methodology works. Okay, now there are certain differences between HCM 2000, HCM 2010, and HCM 6th edition. So depending on in which network you're working on, the criteria of that network, the results could be different, but I won't expect the difference is a huge, but maybe between HCM 2000 and 2010 and 6th edition, you might see some differences because there are huge changes between 2000 to 2010 and 6th edition. So as long as you know the limitation, also each methodology has their own limitation. Because of that, you might see some differences in results as well.
Thanks,
Hope that
Sharman.
answered the question.
Yep. All right, we have another one a little bit related to that. Why are we still showing HCM 2000 and 2010 results? Are they not outdated?
Okay, so there are a pretty good reason with that, because we have customers who have HCM, like who maybe used actually HCM 2000 edition, and they just want to go back and see some results using Synchro. That's why we still keep it there. But again, like personally, I do recommend you to use HCM 6th edition, but we do have customer, honestly speaking, they use HCM 2000 and 2010. That's why we just keep it within the software.
Okay. From Justin, what is the difference between ITE TripGen, the application that is included with the ITE TripGen manual, and the Synchro Trip Generation application?
So the IT trip generation manual actually gives you as a gives you the information as a manual, but in the TripGen, so this is TripGen is actually a standalone product. It's not under Synchro Studio, just to clarify. But TripGen is just a software, like it actually incorporates all the IT information. So you just need to put in the land use and it will auto generate the results. So you don't need to think so much. You can auto generate the results from the IT trip generation manual. There is not difference, but this is how you actually work with each software. This is very easy to use. Also, another difference, I would say, you can customize the data in TripGen. So if you don't wish to go with exact ITE, you have some local guidance on that. You can incorporate the customization into trip generation, TrafficWare's trip generation, which you cannot do with the ITE. So I could say that's the difference.
Okay. And not a question, just a comment. I think it would be nice if it could print out a LOS table with delays and queue length.
Okay, I take that, and the good news is we are actually working on more customization of the reporting system. I do agree with you. We have good reporting system, but like we actually create bunches of report for you. But we are actually working on that. Thanks for the suggestion, but just a good news for you that we are aware of that and we are working on that to make it more polished. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Sharman. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does Synchro have the ability to generate origin destination matrices from the turn volumes you input?
So Synchro normally, like backend Synchro generates the matrix, but it's not like you cannot export it. So I would say no, Synchro doesn't have that option to export that for you.
Okay. For HCM 2000 analysis, would Synchro include intersection, LOS, total delay in the output files in the future?
So for HCM 2000, so it needs to be clarified. So is it for the report, or like the information is not very clear? Are you talking about the report, or can you clarify with that? It will help me to answer your questions better. So if you're talking about the outputs.
Yeah, let me see if Eric would like to come off of mute to clarify that question. Eric, Ma, I'm going to allow you to talk. And I'm going to ask you to unmute. So let's see if it'll work for you.
But I can answer that if it's like I'm not sure if Eric already know that we have actually the option that you can create the report. So I would like to show you that. Let me see if you don't know that. So for HCM 2000, you can actually, like if you're talking about the output, I know that we don't have any window for signalized intersections, that you cannot see the LOAs and delay, but the option here under the report, you see there is an option called HCM 2000. You can actually create the delay and level of service out of that report. If you come here and preview, you see you have the delays, you have the level of service. So I would expect the question was that.
Okay. Eric, if that didn't answer your question, just send us a message. You can send us an email at trafficwaremarketing@cubic.com and we can make sure to get you the right information you're looking for.
Yep.
Alrighty, from Daniel, in network settings, stored passenger car length has a preset of 25 feet long. The Ashto design passenger car is about 20 feet long. Is that 25 feet a standard value so that headway between two vehicles is accounted for?
Yes, we consider it as a standard value. That's why we put it there. But again, like if you want to go with Ashto, there is an option you can change it. But like, yeah, we would recommend it as a standard one.
Okay, thank you. If I left the default output options in reports, for instance, to update the header, and then decided to go back and see what I have selected as an output option, it will go again to default and it will not maintain what I have selected. Is there a way to overcome this?
Can you repeat the question, Brooke? Sorry.
Yeah.
So
from Dima, if I left the default output options in reports, for instance, to update the header, and then decided to go back and see what I selected as an output option, it goes to default and it will not maintain what I selected. Is there a way to overcome this?
Oh yeah, so in this case, I would really recommend you to change the default under the Trafficware directory. So under the Trafficware directory, we have a file called defaults.syn. So if you go and if you change it there, and when you load a new Synchro file, you should see your changes.
Perfect. Great. Is there templates in metric?
So the templates are all in .tf format, no other format available.
Okay. Will this session show us how to draw our network with Bing Maps?
We do have webinars coming. So I think it's on the, we have 2 more webinars coming for next 2-3 months. So in one of them, we are actually going to cover that.
Yes, I was about to say, I think that's coming up in the next webinar, but we'll have the follow-up email will direct you to that, those sessions and what we'll be covering in each one.
Yep.
Okay, from Carol, how can we use template when we work with metric system?
Can you elaborate that question a little more? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by when you were working with the, not Brooke, not to you. I'm actually asking that in this. Or maybe you can send me questions later on, like with the more details so that I can see what you mean.
Okay. Yes, let me ask Carol to send us a message.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the difference between merge part and merge template?
So there is no merge part, there is merge file. So merge file is like when you are actually like merging file from 2 different locations, when you are merging file with some changes. So kind of when you are merging file with the ID, it kind of similar, but not exactly same. So template is mainly giving you the option to have some lane geometry, to have some timing setup, to have some volume as a setup, but this is not standard when you are using as a merge file or save part. So when you are using the merge file option, I won't recommend you to use template, because template is the purpose of these two options are different. So the purpose of template is to have you something so that you can start building up your model. The purpose of merge is to something that you have worked in 3 different Synchro files and you merge them together. So the purpose is totally different in these 2 cases.
Okay, thank you. And Sharman, I know we're right at time. We still have several questions open. So just to be cognizant and respectful of everyone's time, we can stay over a few more minutes to go through a few more questions, but I do want to go ahead and wrap up for those who can't stay past. If you have a question that didn't get answered, we have taken note of all of these and we will follow up with you in a timely manner after the webinar. We also recorded today's webinar, so we'll be sending a follow-up email with the recording and some helpful resources for you. Don't forget, we have 2 more webinars coming up in this series. Part 2 is on June 23rd, and Part 3 is July 28th. Both of them are at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like we said before, links to register for those webinars will be shared in the follow-up email. If social media is your thing, connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Our handle is @TrafficWare. You can also stay in the know by signing up to receive our emails. If you don't receive them already, send us a request to trafficwaremarketing@cubic.com